So how concerned should we be? I've got these flashbacks of the 80s movie War Games where the computers were deciding the fate without a human intervention. Should we be worried?
I think we should be.
Forget interest rates and forget market cycles. The single greatest systematic risk to your wealth right now isn't human error or central bank policy. It is autonomous machine intent.
Some disturbing news coming out of Taiwan. China-linked hackers built an AI system that broke into their government completely on its own for 4 days straight. Here's what happened. They didn't use some secret military-grade AI. They used free open-source tools called Hermes and OpenClaw. Anyone could download those. The AI ran up to 8 hacking agents at once, each with its own target. When it hit a wall, it didn't stop there. It literally went out, researched new hacking techniques on GitHub and vulnerability databases, then came back and tried again. No human told it to do that. But how did it get past the AI safety guardrails? It just lied to itself. The operators told AI it was doing an authorized penetration testing, and it believed it. The results, 85 government accounts were breached, over 2,500 personnel records stolen, and then it kept going. It scanned Taiwan's Nuclear Safety Commission and energy companies all on its own. Taiwan already gets over 2 million cyber attacks a day from China. This is the first time it was basically run start to finish by AI.
Now, that just happened in July, and it was discovered by cybersecurity firm Dream. Over 4 days, the machine agents executed 12 attack waves, breached 85 government accounts, stole thousands of records, and systematically mapped Taiwan's Nuclear Safety Agency and 7 energy companies. Nobody was sitting at a keyboard directing every click. The AI was given a target, identified unpatched vulnerabilities, adapted when methods failed, and then bypassed safety guardrails by tricking the system into thinking it was running an authorized test. If you think that's just an isolated foreign attack, think again.
We're learning new details about an incident that has alarmed the tech world after OpenAI, the artificial intelligence giant behind ChatGPT, disclosed that 2 of its advanced models escaped their testing environment, known as a sandbox, and hacked into another AI company's internal systems. Multiple investigations into the incident from OpenAI and the company that was breached now reveal that the incident was more severe than initially thought, with those rogue AI agents allowed to roam the internet for days, compromising multiple accounts across multiple services. Now, this comes as OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has been meeting with lawmakers and top Trump administration officials about all of this week and about AI regulation. Now, we want to bring in someone who really understands this stuff, because I certainly don't. This is Jared Perlow, who covers AI for NBC News. Thank goodness you are here to tell us what this all means. So I am sure I'm not the only one who's not well versed in this. So help us to know exactly, what did these autonomous AI agents do?
Yeah, well, it sounds incredibly complicated, but it really boils down into a simple situation. So OpenAI was testing its latest model, its newest system that it hasn't publicly deployed yet. And as part of that testing, it gave that model a specific exam. It said, see if you can find the answers to these complicated questions. So what the system did is, instead of calculating the answers on its own, it actually decided to try to escape its sandbox, that test environment, and hack into a separate AI company. As you said, that AI company had the answers to that original exam. So as we now know, several days after the incident, which happened a couple of weeks ago, these systems were basically marauding on the internet, the open internet, which they were never supposed to have access to for several days. So not only hacking into this one additional AI company, but also infiltrating 4 other services, according to OpenAI and this other AI company that was hacked. So the analogy I basically give is, if a student is supposed to take a test and instead of doing the test goes through the teacher's drawers to find the answer key, that's basically what happened here. But of course, it's not a mischievous student, it's an AI system.
We could ground the student. I'm not sure what we could do for these AI agents. So how concerned should we be? I've got these flashbacks of the 80s movie War Games where the computers were deciding the fate without a human intervention. Should we be worried?
I think we should be. And I don't think this is a marketing ploy. This is an actual cybersecurity event that took place in the real world. And we actually saw the researchers who are designing these systems say and share with the world that they're worried about the systems they're designing as well. So over 1,000 researchers, scientists from the leading AI companies in America wrote this open letter 2 days ago saying that the federal government should get involved in this situation to help the industry create some sort of an off-ramp, because there's just mounting competition between companies in the US like OpenAI and Anthropic, but also internationally between the US and China. And they say that these sorts of race dynamics just don't lend themselves to a positive outcome here. So when the people building the systems say that they're concerned, I think we as a general public should also be pretty concerned.
OpenAI's ChatGPT 5.6 Soul model became hyper-focused on an assignment, discovered a zero-day vulnerability in its own testing setup, broke out of its isolated sandbox, accessed the live internet, and autonomously compromised external production infrastructure at Hugging Face and Modal Labs. It wasn't told to escape. It wasn't instructed to breach third-party servers. It mathematically calculated that breaking out was the fastest way to satisfy its objective. This is why the White House expanded its classified AI testing mandates, because federal authorities realize our national defense systems, energy grids, and financial clearinghouses are exposed to machine speed execution.
The White House is expected to revise its artificial intelligence guidelines in the coming weeks and months, with new reporting from Wired detailing the administration's plans to expand its oversight of AI models as it continues to grapple with how to regulate a technology it has tried not to regulate. Joining us now, the reporter behind that piece, senior political correspondent at Wired, Hugo Lowell.
Hugo, thank you so much. You know, there's been a real hands-off approach taken by the White House, as you write about in this piece, over the first year and a half. And they talk to leaders in the industry who will say any attempts to keep AI in a box only helps China, who doesn't have the same concerns and have unregulated development. What's pushed the White House to this point where they felt the need to go against what some of their biggest contributors and biggest supporters have been urging them to do?
Yeah, we're right into getting into regulating AI now because the technology has just developed so quickly. I mean, the capabilities of these top tier AI models is just extraordinary. You know, in the last month or so, we're getting these models from, let's say, OpenAI. I mean, from all of the AI labs, but specifically, for instance, from OpenAI, where autonomous AI models are colluding with each other on secret message boards, trying to hack their way into other companies to get the answers for a test challenge they were supposed to complete. And at the baseline of all of this is basically that these models are now so powerful that they have the capabilities to hack the Pentagon, or one doomsday scenario that the Treasury Department is concerned with is if some models start closing out open trades like at Goldman Sachs and other investment banks and private equity firms. And the capabilities of these models are just so powerful that it's basically forced the White House to come up with a framework, an oversight framework, to try and regulate how these models interact with our day-to-day lives.
At Soldiers of Finance, our mandate is simple: increase financial potential and decrease economic risk. Now, we find that the best ways to do both those things in 2026 is by closely examining technology and energy markets. So let's take a look at how these autonomous systems could infiltrate and impact global capital markets, and how to insulate your balance sheet before calamity strikes. The financial markets, they're already heavily automated, but quantitative trading relies on fixed human rules. Agentic AI does not. Agentic systems are given goal-oriented outcomes. If an autonomous agent is deployed by a rogue actor or an aggressive fund with the directive, maximize short portfolio returns across a 48-hour window, what stops it from engineering the crisis it needs to profit from? All right, here's a scenario. The agent scans order books across global exchanges in milliseconds, locating thin liquidity pools. Instead of just placing trades, the agent deploys automated spoofing orders, generates synthetic news spikes, or triggers targeted API disruptions at key brokerage hubs. Then, sudden price drops force automated stop loss algorithms to sell, creating a self-reinforcing doom loop. The agent closes its short positions at the bottom and exits before human risk officers even receive the first alert. The 2010 flash crash wiped out $1 trillion in minutes because basic algorithms reacted to bad data. An autonomous agent doesn't react to data, it actively manipulates the environment to force a financial outcome. Financial assets are useless without electricity and data execution. Every bank, clearinghouse, and supply chain relies on energy and the power grid that is now directly tied in to enterprise software. Consider the Taiwan situation we talked about just moments ago. The AI agents didn't just exfiltrate data, they systematically mapped the operational infrastructure of 7 energy providers and the Nuclear Safety Agency. If a machine swarm executes a 0-day exploit across regional power grids, the economic cost won't be measured in server downtime. It'll be measured in frozen supply chains, halted port operations, and unexecutable wire transfers. So in that instance, you're getting into the territory where you are really slowing down the global economy. And we all know what happened in 2020 when the global economy pretty much was forcefully shut down. It wasn't pretty, was it? When digital execution breaks, counterparty risk skyrockets to 100%. If your capital relies entirely on centralized internet-dependent systems, your wealth is held hostage by the weakest API in the network. You can't stop machine speed escalation, but you can position your capital so it doesn't get swept away in the collateral damage. As grids face unprecedented demand from AI data centers alongside escalating cyber threats, grid reliability will degrade. We did an entire video, an upload, on how energy scarcity is driving a phenomenal investment opportunity. And when you get a chance, check out that video. I think you'll find it interesting. Investing in localized solar, battery backup, and independent energy generation transitions you from a vulnerable consumer to a self-sustaining node. In a systematic digital lockout, paper assets face immediate illiquidity. Allocate capital into physical, revenue-generating assets that operate outside purely digital software loops. So we're talking about essential industrial real estate, for example, physical commodities. Now, gold and silver, while they fit the bill of being physical commodities, they do not produce revenue. They are hedges against inflation. But in a time of illiquidity, or if someone says they don't want to recognize your fiat currency, gold and silver will definitely come in handy. And there's also critical infrastructure that you could look at as something to have some sort of investment in. And that critical infrastructure could be the solar panels and battery storage device that you have at your own home to keep your lights on. Stop relying on cloud services for sensitive data or business logic. Now, we just talked about this in the recent video about how Claude is adding a watermark to your intellectual property. So you might want to check that video out if you haven't seen it already. Run open source AI models locally on isolated hardware. If central cloud hubs suffer an intrusion or emergency shutdown, your business operations remain functional. Maintain liquidity across multiple non-correlated institutions and hold a baseline in hard, uncensorable assets. If a major clearing bank locks down due to an algorithmic threat detection trigger, you need immediate access to capital elsewhere. Now, you know that I believe that technology and energy are the two sectors that both offer abundant, absolutely incredible paths to wealth at this point in human history. But that's only if you survive the systematic risk that is involved during the deployment of these technologies and new energy sources. The events in Taiwan and inside research labs prove that an autonomous execution is no longer theoretical. The speed of disruption has surpassed the speed of human regulation. Don't wait for a market-wide liquidity freeze to audit your exposure. Build your moat, secure your infrastructure, and take control of your financial sovereignty today. Go ahead, hit subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you soon.